And so here I am, in the next handful of minutes, I want to talk to you about the greatest commandment. I don't think people realize how revolutionary this commandment was, and still is. But when Jesus, in the book of Matthew's version, he said that all the law of the prophets hang on this. For a culture who built all of their identity around their name, their genealogy, their everything that they were was wrapped up in this idea of look at who I am. And Jesus said, no. He said, the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, strength, soul, and spirit. And love your neighbor as yourself. I think a lot of times we get the loving God done fairly well. I think we do a really good job, especially many of us who are part of the mainline denominations who are represented in this chapel this morning. We do really good at loving others. We do social justice really well, for the most part. But the part that we lack, no matter what denomination you're a part of, no matter whether you are caught up and look at who I am, or you are in the corner hiding, praying that Jared won't call on me in class. No matter who you are, loving yourself is going to be and is the hardest part of that commandment. At least it is for me. For us to be able to do those things, I think Jesus was very intentional about saying it in such a way that it looks to me, in my humble opinion, which I respect, that it was a chain reaction. You love yourself, you love your neighbor, and then you love God. One of the ways I truly believe that we can be helping in how we love our Creator is by loving the creation. And that includes ourselves. I'm entering, as Michael said, my 18th year of ministry, and that seems kind of unbelievable to me at times, because I just turned 37 a week and a half ago, and that means I've been doing this all of my adult life. And I grew up in a system that if you were in a ministry position, that you gave everything that you are to everyone. And yourself came second, or third, or fourth, or fifth. And we really get to the point where we think, oh, it is not about me. I'm being narcissistic if I talk about myself, if I learn to love myself. It is the biggest faux pas I can do in ministry. Not loving yourself is probably the biggest, if I can use this word, sin in ministry that we do as ministers. Because we don't take care of ourselves. We don't say, I can't do it all. We try to become superhuman and be that everything to everybody all the time. If you plan to have any longevity, you're going to have to learn to love yourself. Trust me, I've already had these moments where I've had burnouts, and I've said, I don't want to do this anymore. And then I think of the words of the great and late, who was a mentor of mine, Byron Lynn, who told me this: if you want to be able to give to people, you have to be able to give to yourself. He would then tell me to go on and feed the little child in me. Jesus talked a lot about children and talked about how we should pay attention to children. And I think there was words of wisdom in what Byron was telling me, because he saw me not having much longer in ministry. Because he saw that I was beating myself to death day in and day out. I was and I am a church planter. Started a church, it'll be 6 years ago next weekend. And anybody who says that they want to do that, I'm telling you, you're crazy. Because, again, I think God's sense of humor sucks. Because when I was told by God that I want you to start a church, I said, no, thank you. Did everything I could in the world to do anything but that. Worked at a church plant. Tried to do a church within a church. And I felt like I was trying to put a big cosmic pacifier in God's mouth by doing everything but. So here I am, almost 15 years into dreaming and implementing and trying to survive. And one of the things that I still am trying to learn, and it is a struggle for me every day, to love myself. Recently, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. I haven't been very public about it, a little bit recently, but not a lot. And this autoimmune disease affects my nerves. And it makes me in chronic pain all the time. And it makes me have chronic exhaustion and fatigue. It's called fibromyalgia. Some people have told me, oh, that's just in your head. Some people have said, oh, if you do this, you'll be fine. Suck it up. And I tell you that it's probably been the most devastating and the most life-giving diagnosis I've ever had in my entire life. I'm not one of these people that thinks because you have pain, God is punishing you. I think that's bullcrap. I don't buy into that. I don't know why I have it, but all I know is that it has put me in a pressure cooker for the last 3 months of saying, you have to learn to love yourself. Because as my doctor told me in the day of my diagnosis, my life will never be the same again. Being a church planter, you sometimes work 80 to 100 hours a week. You do church outside the box and try to be innovative in the way you do church, but people still have problems and people still have baggage that they bring to the door. That doesn't change. Just how we interact with it changes a little bit. So it has made me, in the last 3 to 4 months, say, hey, to my community, I can't do what I used to do. And they told me, that it's okay. We're in this together. We can do this together. You don't have to do it all yourself. You shouldn't have been doing it all yourself anyway. As Michael said, my wife, my partner in life, some of you have met, she is amazing.
Yep.
A lot cooler than I promise.
Yep.
And she's my co-pastor. She helped plant the catastrophe with us. I have an amazing Brite alum, Becky Holmes, who is on staff with us as well. And the team of us have finally become a team because I let control go. I let go. Most days. God, you work in spite of my workaholism, my need of control, my lack of loving myself. This is all God. Do it with me that you want to. I have a friend of mine that wrote a song 15, 20 years ago that I want to read to you a little bit of because it explains where I'm at in life right now. Lord, I'm tired, so tired from walking. And Lord, I'm so alone. And Lord, the dark is creeping in, creeping up to swallow me. I think I'll stop and rest here a while. And this is all I can say right now. And this is all I can give. And this is all I can say right now. And this is all I can give. And that's my everything. Lord, you see me crying. And you didn't hear me call your name. It wasn't you I gave my heart to. I wish you remember where you sat it down. This is all I can say right now. I know it's not much, but this is all I can give, and that's my everything. When we feel led or whatever that process looks like for you and your community, being called, if I can use that term, into some type of rhythm with God, some type of ministry with and for God. I urge you, if you hear nothing else I say today, I urge you to cleave to this idea of the way we love God, or one of the ways we love God, or our Creator, is by loving our neighbor as ourselves. And don't forget the self part. Because this is all I've got. And this is all sometimes you've got. And that's enough. Honestly, God has just asked us, those of us who are going or are in ministry positions, to not only be, and Becky hates this term, but ambassador of God. To be that ambassador, you have to love yourself. And not in an arrogant, narcissistic way, but a way that will not only give back to your rhythm of life with God, but your community's rhythm of life with God. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, strength, soul, and spirit. And love your neighbor as yourself.